My channel is about music and family, wisdom and fun, and it's about time. This is What Dad See Music.
Hey everybody, Dad C here. This is my unboxing and first impressions of the Casiotone CT-S300. So it does come with this removable music stand. Pretty easy to get in there, and it holds on okay. Let's take that off. And then on the back here, we've got a mini USB, a pedal, power, headphones out, and audio in. You can run this audio in to play a song through the onboard speakers here, stereo, and audio out can be used for recording, or to put it out into headphones, or to put it out over a speaker system. Pedal does not come included. I do have a Casio pedal from my other keyboard behind me, so I will be able to test that out today as well. Underneath, we have the battery compartment, which holds 6 AA batteries. For today's test, I will be using the onboard power that is included with this keyboard. Over here we've got a pitch bend. We have the power key, the volume key, 3 function keys that will correspond to functions on the bottom of the screen depending on which setting you're in. A selection dial, which will change the selection showing on the screen. A home key, which gets you to your main functions of tone, rhythm, and probably some more. I forgot what they all were. Tempo, sustain button, my setup, which allows you to do presets, and then functions, which is a long list of additional functions. I will not go into all of these today. There are other videos that go through all the different sounds out there, and so I will leave that for them to do, and I'm just going to give you my first impression. So first impression is it weighs not very much at all. You can see I can flip it around. I think it said something about 8 pounds or something like that. Don't remember exactly. The size, it said 36 inches on the internet, and indeed it is 36, about 36.6 I believe it was. So that seems right. The keys, let's see how they feel. They're definitely spring-loaded, so they don't feel weighted like our full-size Casio keyboard, but they do have a nice feel, they have a nice texture. The power buttons and all the other buttons feel nice to click. They don't make a loud click. That's me hitting it hard. That's me hitting it soft, but they have a nice feel to the click. These buttons have a little bit less of a click and more like if you were pushing a button on a remote control. This wheel feels nice. It wiggles a little bit. You see how it's wiggling back and forth, so I wouldn't put a lot of pressure on that. A little dicey there, but the click feels good. The handle feels nice. I could imagine it would be easier to walk around with than most keyboards. Got to do the skateboard grip on most keyboards, and you're pressing down the keys. This one you can hold pretty easily. You saw when I opened up the box, it was very easy for me to pull it out. I luckily opened the end that had the handle, and that made it really easy to pull out. Nothing on this end, nothing on that end, nothing else under here. That's it. Very simple, but very nice. So I have not turned this on yet, but I did read the instructional manual online a couple of nights ago after I'd ordered it, but before it came. So I've got a little bit of knowledge of how it works, so I'll turn it on. So you see how long that took. Let's see if that is for real. Okay, so a little bit of delay. I didn't see it going, so I was a little concerned. I don't have any audio hooked up. I'm just going off the speakers. That is how I intend to use it. So that is how I want to show it to you today. So obviously it doesn't have a fantastic sound coming out of the speakers. That's on full volume. Halfway down. Off, obviously. And that would be your quietest setting. So I'm going to put it at a 7 for this video, and I do have to apologize ahead of time. I am just learning to play piano. I typically play guitar, so the playing will probably not be that good, but that's okay. So now I'm going to adjust the tone as it defaults on the screen when you start it up. It's on grand piano, and you can start going through the tones. Now, I think it's about 400. So I did about 30 of the tones. Like I said, there are many videos out there showing all the tones in the library. They take 40 minutes. I'm not going to do that today, but I will go back and see if I can find the rhythms and see if I can play those rhythms. So pretty cool operation there. All the sounds sound really cool. All the beats sound really cool. So I think the main thing is here, there's really not any trash in this computer. I think it's got a lot of really good sounds. I think I've heard it when it goes out through the audio jack back here, or maybe not this exact one, but another one in a similar series, that it sounds really good going into workstation, a digital workstation, or into a speaker system. I think that sounds really good. So obviously these speakers aren't going to be perfect, but if you're playing it over a system, I think the quality is really nice. The speakers sound great, and I could imagine hanging out with friends by a campfire. It would be just fine, wouldn't need anything, and then to be just as good as like a portable speaker for your phone. Of course, you can always bring it out and put the jack in if you've got a battery operated speaker, and maybe spice it up a little bit even out and about. Okay, going to just look at the songs really quick. Obviously I need to play. So one thing I did notice about the wheel there is when you're trying to scroll fast, it is more efficient just to let your finger roll across the wheel without being in the hole necessarily, because trying to get your finger in that hole creates stoppage and it's not smooth. But just kind of rolling over it like an old iPod wheel is probably the best way to change that. So I'll go back to home here, make sure I'm on my grand piano, which I am, and I'm going to check out this sustain button. So that's kind of cool. Now I've turned sustain off. It's still ringing though. That's interesting that it won't cut off the sustain when you remove it, so it'll probably ring those notes that we're already playing. It also may be on a setting called sustinato, I believe it is, which is where it sustains what notes you've clicked, but not the new notes you play. So let's see if it does that. So that kind of acted like a sustinato. It may be on the settings here where we could find that. Pedal sustain. So that was on regular sustain. So a little bit different operation than I would suspect there, but that is okie dokie. Also, that may be for the sustain pedal, not for this sustain button. About 20 functions here that you can change stuff. Also, I cruised by and saw that there was MIDI here. This does run MIDI on your workstation, your recording software. Also, there is an app that can link up to your phone, I think via USB, or link up to your computer via USB, and it lets you play kind of like one of those video games. Unfortunately, I do not play those video games, but Rockstar or something along those lines, where it brings the keys down and you can see what's coming. On a higher end model of this one, it actually lights up the keys that you're supposed to play, and so you can use this as a MIDI controller for that game or for your digital workstation, whatever it may be. It does act as a MIDI controller, which is pretty cool. The application right now has about 2.5 stars, I believe, so might not be very good. I don't know. I don't play those type of games, but I may start with this one just to try it out, because if you're going out on the road and you want to practice, you can just put the stand up there, put your phone on it, and it will start playing the app for you, and you can play along to learn. You can learn one hand or the other. That's another thing with the songs, is it allows you to play one hand or the other with this part button. You can say turn the right off, so now you're just playing the right hand. So that's pretty cool. Going into my setup here, I think that's where you get to a setting that you want to keep in your setup, and then you load it. So if you have a different tone or something along those lines, you can always have my setup here and load it, and you'll load what you want to do. You'll say yes, and then it will load your my setup. I obviously do not have anything set up right now, but if you have a favorite tone and sustain or whatever else, you can do that there. Also, in the settings, you can go to my setup and you can make it your default when you turn on the computer. I think it's at the end. Yeah, so power on my setup. So you can have it where it turns on at the same volume, same tone, same settings, and it's really cool. There are some settings that stay when you turn off the keyboard, but most of them go back to default. So unless you have my setup with this power on setting on, then it will go back to the default functions. Just going to test the pitch bend. The cool thing about that is you can actually set on the functions how much that bends. I think up to a whole octave. So it's really cool that you can adjust the sensitivity. On previous MIDI controllers that I've had, that was not a possibility. Also, when you're doing MIDI, you can shift the keyboard up and down an octave so that you're playing on the higher end, especially if you're using a digital audio workstation. If you have certain drum kits and synthesizers that are on one side of the board but not on the other, that's helpful because you can get up and reach to those other ones. That's honestly most of what I've done on a keyboard, is going in to record beats and stuff. So the last thing to do is to test out this Casio pedal. My wife bought her Casio keyboard when she was in college, and this came with it. She bought an upgraded one, so we're going to see how this one works. This one has to be at least 10 years old, and it was made at a time before this technology was here, so we shall see if it works. And it does, works as expected, so all good. We'll be able to take this out and take it on vacation or wherever we go, put batteries in it, have a sustain, have a good time. We can even listen to music over the speakers, although that's probably not that good of a sound. And then we'll also be able to plug into any speaker system that we find out and about. And so I'm really excited about this Casiotone CT-S300. Seems like a really cool find. One of the cool features that I was excited about when I was reading the owner's manual was a dance function, and they say it makes you like a DJ. So let's see what this is all about. So super cool. I really like that function, and I did study those keys, so I kind of knew what I was getting to. Drums, bass, other types of rhythms, I'm not sure, some fills in here, and then that ending that closed it out. I'm so excited because I'm going to use that to record during my intros and outros, and then also just B-roll type of film where I'm recording something in the background and just need a little bit of music. Instead of having to go into GarageBand and mix up a whole piece of music, I can just pick one of these cheesy songs. I'm sure there's some good stuff in here. That sounded a little cheesy to me, but pretty cool, pretty neat, and I'm sure there are plenty of options here. So very excited about that. Already sounds cool. There you go. A little size comparison here. This is my 49 key M Audio MIDI keyboard, 10 years old. You can see how yellowed those keys are there. The Casiotone CT-S300. It's got 61 keys. And then the full-size Casio keyboard. I'm guessing it's a Privia looking at the mirror there. I didn't know the name of it. That's it. See, I've got my music on the stand there. Okie dokie, last test here. You're seeing it live with me. I'm going to test the waters with the M Audio keyboard. Suspense is killing me. Oh, it's not looking good. So the M audio I think is like 34 inches and it is not fitting in the suitcase. So airplane, we're gonna have to figure out how to get this keyboard on there because I have a sneaky feeling if the M audio doesn't fit, the Casiotone not gonna fit. Boy, was I right. Hey everybody, thank you so much for watching my video. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, so please go below and subscribe to my channel, Dad C Music. Also, maybe grab a friend's phone, hit subscribe, go to a party or an event, grab everybody's phone, hit subscribe. That would be fantastic. Thank you so much.